If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims.
Welcome to this week's episode of Zen Success. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Jamie Lerner. Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
And where are you connecting from today?
I'm in beautiful sunny Los Angeles.
Oh, wonderful. What part of LA do you live in?
I live in Laurel Canyon and I love it.
Oh, wonderful. I lived in LA for a long time, so
And
all different parts.
where are you now?
And I'm in Colorado, so I'm in
Okay,
Lafayette,
beautiful
Colorado.
sunny Colorado.
It is. It's gorgeous right now, and probably a little bit colder than where you're at. So let me share a little about Jamie. Jamie Lerner, co-author of the book, The Ever-Loving Essence of You, can put a fresh spin on just about anything that anyone throws her way. Her unique and masterful ability to reframe even the most difficult situations is astounding. All of a sudden, your biggest nightmare becomes your greatest pleasure as she lovingly helps you sift through the contrast and find that small opening of light that quickly becomes your greatest jumping off point of clarity. Jamie can most often be seen working with adults, teens, children, and couples, as well as small groups. She is an integrative well-being therapist who resides in Laurel Canyon, she just said. So happy to connect with you today.
Thank you.
Well, would you share your journey to becoming an integrative well-being therapist?
Certainly. So I was psychotherapist for a while and thought that continuing to ask people to look back instead of moving forward was not really assisting them. And after doing that for a while, I studied and I traveled, I gave up my practice, and then I do something very different now, which is the integrative approach to well-being, where I assist people in assisting themselves from getting to where they are to where they want to be.
Mm. So would you say the difference is you're not wallowing in the problems, you're more just stating it and thinking about what are the steps to move forward and just empowering them with that energy?
Yes, I think that when we can look back from our adult perspective, it looks and feels very different. And so that becomes easier to reframe, to use those experiences in a positive way, because I think a lot of our superpowers come from those early challenges.
Mm.
But we can do this without dragging all of that old baggage to where we are now. And then we can more easily move forward.
I see. That makes sense. So you have a variety of clientele. So what would a session working with you look like? Say you're working with an adult and they come to you with an issue. What are the most of the issues that people are coming to you for, and how would that session look like?
Well, I worked very differently with people because I asked people to tell me how much time they'd like for their session. So right away,
Interesting. That is different.
it is different because how would I know what you need for yourself? But you know. And I think that's also different. People are not used to hearing that they know for themselves. I think that you are your own greatest resource. So really, it's about tuning into you and starting to trust yourself that you do know. I mean, you always know. It doesn't matter how or why you know, but when we begin to reconnect with ourselves, we understand that we have amazing intuition that we feel all the time, but choose to consciously not acknowledge. Um, so it starts off with the client taking personal responsibility for their time with me. And I really like that. And
Mhm.
the client at first is unsure, but I think in a very short period of time, they come to consider themselves first, not
Mm.
the outside expert, which I'm not. I'm not an expert and I don't give advice.
I see. Oh, that's wonderful. So it's almost like you're reframing a societal perspective, which is to give your power away to the therapist or the doctor or whoever it is. Like they know all and we are helpless and need their guidance or whatever. And so it's like I feel like this is a future of therapy. I mean, you're doing it now, but I think this is the way that we can really transform our lives.
Yes, but the success of it comes from the connection that we have with ourselves or the reconnection that we are
See.
consciously creating, because that is the basis for all other relationships that we go on to have with others or not.
I see.
So,
So how does that session work and how do you help your clients?
well, um, I think it's about self-love, which when people hear that, they get very turned off. Um, they don't really understand what that means, but
Yeah. Or
it
they
just,
dismiss it like it's little, it's not for them, right?
right, it's not for them. But it's about nurturing and nourishing ourselves back into the connection that we have with ourselves, because we are trained from a very early age to look outside of ourselves for validation, for confirmation, and for the cues about how we're supposed to be feeling. Whereas none of that's relevant, because once again, the reconnection with ourselves is like a guiding light, and we navigate very well from that place.
Yes. And so do you say that connection with ourselves is spiritual? Do you see, would an analogy be we are all divine, connect with the divine within? Or is this agnostic? Does
This
this have
is
anything to
not,
do with
no, I don't,
meditation
this
or,
has
okay.
nothing to do with religion or faith. What it has to do is um, reconnecting with the, I want to say little voice, but it's a big voice within each of us, which is very individual. And I think when we are born, we are naturally in a state of well-being and we are connected to that voice. Then over time, I think because society, it's not a commentary about society, but we move further and further away from our own inner knowing, inner being. And then when we reconnect with that voice, it's familiar. It's like coming home. And we begin to understand that, yes, a million times a day we have intuition. And we're always brushing it off, like, not now, I'm busy. It's like the conversations that we're having with ourselves are usually not kind. We would probably not speak to other people the way we speak to ourselves. And we are dismissing the true knowing that we do have for ourselves to guide us to our highest, greatest, most powerful, loving selves.
Mm, that's so inspiring. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, when people start to get it, it feels really good. And um, I think that then we understand that this is our natural state of well-being, that it is, kind of our birthright to feel good and to hear ourselves and to be guided by ourselves from the inside out.
Yes. And can you see that light bulb turning on with your clients? Can you see the
Yes, I
transition?
can. Yes, and they can feel it. And that's what's most important. They literally can feel the knowing. And
Yeah.
that's when we start to relax back into ourselves and trust ourselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any success stories that you can share today?
They're all success stories.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
The
100% success.
the
I love it.
criticism I get the most is that I have a very poor business model because my success is when people do not need me any longer. And that's when I know I've done my job, as
Bravo.
opposed to, yes, being dependent on me. So it's really about being dependent on yourself and guiding yourself to your highest self. Yeah.
Yes. And can you share any specific stories?
Well, the people that gravitate towards me have like issues that are not about drug abuse and they're not about depression. They're more about being stuck. People get stuck, like stuck in a moment. And next thing you know, the moment turns into a year and then 2 years and 3 years. So it's kind of like when a car gets stuck in the mud and someone keeps turning the steering wheel the same direction and putting the gas on. And literally, they just get more dug in and more stuck. So, really, it is about just slowly turning the steering wheel the other way and gently pulling yourself from where you are and, yeah, just getting to where you want to be.
Mhm.
So, when people do that, there's a huge sense of relief. So
Mhm.
my clients, it's not, although I think we could do this with any situation, even addiction,
Mhm.
but it's a little tricky. So, and I love working with kids because they're so open. They're so open to receiving. And I also have a texting business called The Quickie, a lovely texting option. And that I love the most, because you text with me, I text back with you, and you can read what you're texting, go back and look. And over time, you realize you knew all along for yourself. And I was just a conduit. So it's very self-empowering for the client,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is really the whole point.
Right. And so that's why you're not sharing any specific stories because they feel empowered. They feel like they step into a new reality where they can live their best life in all areas.
And they do.
Mhm. Yes. Well, what do you mean by the statement every day, endless opportunities?
I think that every moment that we are experiencing contrast, and contrast is everything that we really don't want, that there's always an opportunity within that. Like if there's a silver lining, like there's a message that we can decode and really gain some clarity about where we are. So right now, Mercury's in retrograde as of yesterday, and it's going to be for several weeks, which means expect the unexpected with technology and all other kinds of things. So there will be lots of opportunities for us all to experience contrast. And what are we choosing to do with that contrast? It's just a wonderful opportunity to reframe it and to turn it into something hopeful and wonderful for ourselves.
Well, I'm so glad that you brought Mercury in retrograde into this conversation. I think I need to release this episode now so we can be relevant, you know? But I know there's a lot of Mercury in retrogrades. And it's funny because usually I pay attention to the dates for that. But this time I didn't. I was like more focused on tomorrow, the 1111 portal. So it's interesting. So we'll have the power of the portal and also the energy of retrograde, where there's unexpected surprises and technology. Yeah, because just today I was having issues with technology. So that's good to know. In a way, for me, it's more comforting. I get less frustrated when I know
Yeah.
it's Mercury in retrograde.
Yes, and it's only a few weeks, but I think that we just can laugh a whole lot more when we're kind of knowing to expect the unexpected. Then it's not so unexpected. It's like, oh yeah, here we go again.
Mhm.
So
So, how do you reframe life's challenging situations for your clients?
Well, I help them reframe them for themselves. But once again, like every situation is a feeling. And it's not really about the action, it's about the feeling. So if you can take a situation, and I really like to use a situation where people get in their car every morning and they're anticipating being in traffic and they're anticipating being miserable. And there is traffic and they are miserable and they have a very
Well,
long
in
commute.
LA is one thing, right?
It's,
In a
it,
different city, it could be different, right?
it's a lot. It's really a lot. But you're going to go to work and you're going to go to work either way. So you're going to get in your car and you're going to go to work stuck in traffic, miserable. Or you can get in your car and you can use that time to do lots of different things like listen to a podcast, return phone calls, listen to music. Here you have like an hour plus of time to get from where you are to where you are going to go. How do you want to use the time? And that's like a really simple reframe, but it also is a choice. And most reframe options are a choice. How do you want to feel in that hour and 15 minutes?
Hmm.
Because you are choosing it, whether you're aware of it or not.
Yes, absolutely. So, how do we shift our energy into alignment?
Alignment is thoughts and feelings as one. And oftentimes that's not the case. Oftentimes we are not in alignment with our choices. We are impulsive about making a decision, not
Mm,
feeling good about making the decision because we feel pressure. Those situations don't turn out very well. So I love procrastination. I think procrastination is our friend because it gives us time to stop and to get into alignment with the task at hand. If someone
mhm,
asks me to do something and I'm not really sure that I want to do it, I say to them, let me think about that and get back to you. And then I do. And I really only say yes when I can feel unconditionally 100% good about whatever I'm being asked to do.
mm,
And I think we do people a favor when we can be there 100% and be fully present, when we can give with both hands unconditionally. I mean, that feels so much better than showing up being resentful, knowing you don't want to be there. It doesn't feel good to you, and it doesn't feel good to the person you're showing up for.
mhm,
So it's better to say, let me get back to you, then think about it, and then choose. And then to say, you know what? This doesn't really feel good to me. I'm going to pass on this opportunity. And
mm.
that's a nice way to excuse yourself, acknowledging the opportunity, but without offending somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you react and say yes, so say a person might have a tendency to be a people pleaser and they think that the other person wants them to say yes. So they'll say yes to appease them in the moment, but they might even forget about it and flake or, not be as committed as someone like you or maybe one of your clients that reflects and says, I'm not sure. Let me get back to you on that. I really love that. It feels respectful, like the other person
Yes.
asking you would respect you more.
Yes, and you are respecting yourself, and that's really
Mhm.
important.
Mm.
So, um, yeah.
How can that protect your energy and help you get into alignment if you respect yourself?
Well, I think that you think about yourself first. Like, how am I going to feel about doing this? Something I've just said yes to, and I don't know if I really want to do it. I mean, that's a question. And you could take a day or two to answer it, and every moment you might feel differently. And at the moment that you feel like you are in alignment with it, like you kind of weigh it back and forth, you'll know. I mean, because you'll just be comfortable giving the response.
Right.
And but once again, I don't think that people take that time to reflect and to consider. Um, if that's something that they want to do, maybe they feel they should do it or something that they need to do. Anything you think you need to do that you're not in alignment with, it's not going to turn out well at all. It's just not.
Hmm.
So, you might as well take a little time, get into alignment with it, and respond in a way that really honors you and the person that you're, you know, are, are communicating with.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. In some ways, if we have a job, if we're a W-2 employee, we think we have to say yes right away to keep our job or to honor them, even though it's something, that we don't feel comfortable doing. So I can imagine for some people that it would be challenging. Do you think?
Yes. So I think once you do say yes, you still have to get into alignment with it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because, and you can create alignment with that because you can talk through it with yourself. Like, okay, this is a commitment. This is a job I took on. I knew that there were going to be times when I didn't want to, show up and do overtime or whatever it is. But I understand that this is a commitment that, you know, there are just many ways to talk through it. The most important thing is at the moment that you are having to be there, that's really when you need to be in alignment. Otherwise, you'll probably be passive aggressive, you'll be late, or you won't do the task fully. There'll be some recourse that will not be possible.
I see. I see. What is the art of allowing?
That's a really tough one.
I mean, I practicing it, having a definition is one thing, and then, actually practicing it. I heard of it through Abraham Hicks.
Yes, absolutely. So the art of allowing is a practice, I have to say. When you are in a place where you're feeling really good about the decisions that you're making for yourself, you are then able to extend that same courtesy to other people, which means you're minding your business 100%, which means that whatever anyone else is doing, it has nothing to do with you. That feels really good when we can do it. That means that we are not projecting anything onto another person. We are just allowing them to be who they are and where they are at all times. But most people, they have a commentary for everything and everybody. Someone else is doing this. They don't even know this person. Someone else is wearing that. Someone else is eating this. It's like that is none of your business. So it's about how can you focus on yourself, make good decisions for yourself, and then allow other people to make whatever decisions they are making for themselves without
Yeah.
it affecting you.
Mm. Yeah. And I would think I'm working on that. Like you said, it's a work in progress.
It is, it's a process for
It's
sure.
a process of continually being aware and understanding, the interactions with others is about us healing, but also about them healing. Because I had a conflict that involved me and my daughter and some other families with Girl Scouts. And it took me years, I have to say, it took me 2 years to let it go. I was not there. But I have to say, to your point about your biggest challenges becoming your greatest gift, that was definitely true because I learned how to love unconditionally, to let it go, and, to move through the anger and resentment that others were feeling into a place of neutrality.
That's wonderful. And
Hmm.
it does feel good when you can get there.
Hmm.
But once again, the more we are navigating for ourselves about ourselves, the easier it is to extend that same courtesy to others. Mostly when we are not able to do it, that is kind of a wake-up call to us that we are not addressing ourselves.
I see. Well, how can the art of allowing help us lead our best life?
Well, when we allow other people to be where they are and who they are, we live unconditionally. We love everyone because we are loving ourselves, we are loving other people, we are minding our own business. And I don't know, it's a beautiful way to move about and to connect with people. And you connect with them just without even saying a word. They can feel from you just your complete acceptance of them at all times, which you absolutely can do when you're in a good place with yourself. And when
It
you're
feels,
not, it's much more difficult.
yes, I can see that and feel that. It feels like a sense of overwhelming, peaceful grace. And it also feels like deeply feminine, like the divine feminine, sacred feminine, that allowing.
It is because you are not casting any unkindness onto others. It's all kindness.
Mm, I
It's
see.
a
Yeah.
very blissful state and very satisfying.
Mm. Well, how can changing your storyline change your life?
We get so invested in our stories, we don't even know what our story is because we're incessantly repeating it to people all the time. And so, I ask people to just pause and to figure out how that story feels when you're telling it, which most people, they don't do. So when they do, they realize like this story does not feel good. It's not even updated. It's very outdated and it's not even true. So we tend to drag old things we've heard about ourselves from family of origin or teachers or whatever people have said about ourselves without, as adults, fact checking and realizing, like, is this even true? Does this even apply to me anymore? So I think that you change your story, you change your life. It's absolutely life-changing. However, some people get so attached to their story, it becomes their identity. So I have to be very careful to ask people in a way that could give them the option of just maybe editing their story, editing the tone of their story, just maybe a few sentences so that people don't feel like their entire identity has been taken away from them because they have invested so much time in this falsehood.
Right. Or maybe even their role within the story. I don't know. It just feels like a movie that they can rewrite. That's beautiful.
Absolutely. And I
Mhm.
think when people do that, they feel really relieved.
Mm,
It's like reinventing yourself. So,
yeah. So do you have any tips for doing that?
well, I think awareness is number one.
Mm,
And to be lovingly curious about it all and to have some levity. Like none of this stuff needs to be hard. I laugh so much with clients and I'm laughing at myself with myself all day long. And it just feels so much better when we can do that. So become lovingly curious about yourself, not about others. You don't know anything about anyone else. And it's the people that are always telling other people what to do that are not doing any of that for themselves. So,
Oh, isn't that interesting? They feel uncomfortable telling themselves what to do. They tell other people.
exactly. We tend to project all the time. And it's really never about the other, ever. So to use people as an opportunity to really get an insight where you are with yourselves is great.
Beautiful. Well, I would love to hear more about your book, The Ever Loving Essence of You. What is the main lesson and what inspired you to co-write this?
So, I was born with the knowing, I think we all are. Um, and I was unable to connect emotionally with my mom. My parents were amazing and growing up was amazing, but I could not figure out for half my life how to connect with my mom. So when she got sick, um, I sat with her in the ICU for days. She was on a breathing tube. She was intubated. And I felt all the love pour through her to me. And I thought, this is it. The beginning of our mother and daughter connection.
And how
then
old were you at the time?
This was like 15 years ago.
Okay.
So, and then she transitioned. And I
Yeah, so
realized,
you were an adult when, yeah.
yes, I realized that the reason my mom could not connect with me is because she was not connected with herself. So she was a force of nature. She filled her 24-hour days with 48 hours. I mean, she was an amazing person. But she spent her whole life sidestepping the most important relationship, which is the one with herself. And so I sat with my good friend Lauren Targ, and we wrote this book in a weekend. And she knew my mother very well because she's been in my life forever. But this book really poured through me in a way that was so amazing. So, yeah, the connection with ourselves is the most important connection that we will ever go on to have.
I love it. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story of you and your mom.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
Oh, I don't know.
You're going to fall into the unknown.
I don't know. I don't.
That's allowing.
It doesn't I'm not driven like that. I feel like the most important thing that helping professionals can do is to be the living, breathing example for other people. So we must walk our talk, and we must assist people through the example of what is possible. And I try to do that every single moment. I have an unbelievable connection with myself, and I really am so thankful for my childhood and my relationship with my mom. I mean, this is my big reframe because connection with myself and others is my superpower. And it's because of those earlier, I don't want to say moments because they were long, long hours of not feeling the connection with the person that brought me into this world. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, what is Zen success to you?
Breathing into yourself and embracing yourself with a lot of unconditional love. Yeah, I think that's Zen success.
I love the simplicity of that. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and hearing your journey and about your book, The Ever Loving Essence of You. I'll put your website and how to buy your book in the show notes. And thanks for being on my show today, Jamie.
Thank you for inviting me.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey. And join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.